Well, good morning. This is Ian R. Crane. It's the morning of Friday, 29th of September 2017. And I'm coming to you live stream from Kirby, Misperton. I'm a little way up the road from the entrance to the well site. There's a little bit of activity down there this morning because apparently the teddy bears are extremely upset that Kirby, Misperton, which is one of their favourite picnic spots, is going to be subjected to a frack, if Third Energy get their way, that is, of course. So the teddy bears have staged a lock-on, and I can see the removal crew down there right now trying to assess the situation. And of course, this follows yesterday's mock-on, where I came down and had every intention of delivering a roll of carpet to Louise Hammond for her caravan here. And obviously not wanting to block the highway for too long, because I've already experienced the result of obstructing the highway from a ditch earlier this week. So I drove up fairly quickly and had arranged for somebody to take the carpet out, and then drove off fairly quickly. Well, the police jumped to conclusions, but strangely enough, so did a couple of the protectors. They saw a roll and immediately thought that it was a lock-on, so they put their arms into either end of the roll of carpet. Well, the police, of course, stopped me as I was going down the road, suspecting that I had been aiding and abetting a lock-on. So when they stopped me, I was shocked, and they asked me why, I asked why they had stopped me, and they said, well, we suspect that you might be delivering a lock-on device. And I said, I'm delivering a roll of carpet. So I went and parked up, and sure enough, when I got back, a sterile area had been created around the two people that had mistakenly put their arms into a roll of carpet. Well, the sterile area remained in place for some 35-40 minutes until the removal crew came, and then they spent another 15 minutes doing a risk assessment, and then eventually the team leader put his hand on top of the lock-on and, of course, discovered it was indeed a roll of carpet. So I can just imagine the debriefing back at the station yesterday, and, the questions are being asked, and I'm sure one of the questions that was asked was to the officer who actually stopped me driving away, and he said, well, what did Crane tell you? He said, well, he told me he was delivering a roll of carpet. What can you say? So anyway, if that wasn't entertainment enough yesterday, obviously there was a very sort of nervous and very jumpy squadron of the paramilitary here, going under the guise of North Yorkshire Police. But despite that, a low loader came out at around about noon, and somebody ran up the road and jumped on the back of it. And despite the best efforts of North Yorkshire Police's top negotiator, the person stayed on top of that truck until, I think, about 6 o'clock. I think it was about 6 hours all told. Obviously, nothing else was going to be moving that day after 6 o'clock. So she came down of her own accord and was obviously subsequently arrested. Now, unfortunately, the police deigned that in their infinite wisdom, they would use the opportunity to bring vehicles in from the southern route. So this is the first time that I'm aware of that a convoy has been escorted in through a Motherby and Great Hapton. And again, the police were very nervous because there's a bridge, a narrow bridge over the River Rye between a Motherby and Great Hapton, and the police, in their haste to get the vehicles to the well site here, nearly ran a local resident off the road. So, one sees that this is a disaster waiting to happen in so many ways. So, of course, earlier in the week, we had a very eventful week. On Monday, we had the very first lock-on, and it was an all-lady lock-on. And, of course, Sue Goff, one of the locals who lives literally just a mile over the way here, looking over the well site, she was one of the people in that lock-on. And then on Wednesday, there was a joint venture lock-on between Kirby Misperton and Preston New Road, for which we are extremely grateful for the support from the people from Preston New Road. And this is, you know, reciprocal to the support that Kirby Misperton has given to Preston New Road over the past few months. So today, who knows what's going to happen, but this is quite... Ah, there we go. Had to move to get a better signal. Apparently we had a bit of an interruption there. So Eddie, you want to join me? Eddie, impromptu...
I've only got 5 minutes.
He's only got... Yeah? This side.
Oh, right.
We're doing a reverse camera. That's why the... that's why everything looks to be mirror image. We're using the reverse camera here. So Eddie, how's the week gone?
Amazing. Yeah, it's gone in a bit of a blur. We've had a really, really powerful week. What was Monday? Monday was big lock-on, 12-hour lock-on. Then Tuesday was the farmers, and that was a massive show of strength. Wednesday was another lock-on, solidarity from PNR.
All ladies?
Everyone's been a lady so far who's done anything. And then yesterday was kind of my favourite day of the whole campaign because it was just so random. We did a pretend lock-on in the morning. Then something else happened. Oh no, there's a church service. There's a church service first, then a pretend lock-on, and then the surfer.
I must have missed the church service somewhere.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Oh, was that okay?
Yeah, it was brilliant, really powerful. And a lot of people have been inspired by that kind of peaceful singing. And then it was such a stark contrast to see the bully boys in yellow coming and just like dragging people away whilst they were singing hymns. It's had a lot of response on the internet. People think it's a very effective way to protest.
So obviously the suggestion was that the village was really upset that the surfer was on the truck, but actually the opposite appeared to be the case.
Well, I know it didn't cause much disruption, and I know that some people have come to the camp to say that the police are trying to trying to build up the fact that there's a protest and a blockade. And the two locals came to camp just to say, look, we've heard this, but we actually think it's great what you're doing, and more power to you. So this is not a very busy road at all, and there are several other alternatives that people can use. So it's not as if it caused huge disruption. And I think people understand that it's nothing compared to the disruption that widespread fracking will have if we let this well happen.
So next week, hopefully we'll get more people down. But we're going to have a walk at the weekend, aren't we? We're going to have a walk on Saturday morning, because this is quite possibly the last weekend that people will be able to use the public footpath that goes behind the well site and actually see what's going on in the well site, because Third Energy are desperately trying to construct their sound screen, which is their euphemism for a sight screen. But, you know, obviously we have other means by which we can monitor what's occurring.
Yeah, so what's that, a walk around the perimeter?
Yeah, it's going to be about an hour and 20-minute walk from Kirby Misperton Village, starting at Kirby Misperton Village and finishing at Kirby Misperton Village. So, you know, if you roll up to the village around about 10 o'clock in the morning, and then we'll have an hour plus gentle stroll across this beautiful North Yorkshire wolds here. Oh, sorry, it is the wolds, isn't it? No, the moors. Yeah. The Vale of Pickering. The Vale of Pickering here, and there's some stunning views across the Vale of Pickering on the walk. So even if you live locally, and yesterday I took a couple around this particular walk, and they've lived here for some 20 years, and they had no idea this footpath was here. So yeah, you could join us then.
And Sunday is legal observer training. We've had a massive amount of interest since this protest began. It's been really hard to get people interested in legal observers until they've seen how the protest is unfolding and how the police are behaving. And we've had 20 plus people sign up, but we've got space in our community centre for more. We've had 70 people in there before. Green and Black's try and restrict it to 20, but I'm sure we could sneak some more people in if you want to come along. That's 12:30. Come for 12 on Sunday at the camp.
Excellent. You got a rush, I think. So thanks, Eddie.
Take care.
I'll catch you. See you around. Okay, so obviously there's a lot of ways in which you can follow what's going on here. We have Dr. Stephen Pears, otherwise known as Steve Spy. He's live streaming a lot of the activity. Louise Hammond is putting out live stream and video. Myself, of course, you know, dotting around here and there, getting live streams up or video up. But please, what's really, really important is to spread the word and get people to come down. I mean, you know, there's no need for people to get right in the thick of it. You know, we have areas that are extremely safe. They're away from any of the police presence. and you can just observe what's occurring here. And we do need people to observe. I mean, people that have come down have been totally shocked by the paramilitary tactics of the North Yorkshire PSU. And although we've seen a little bit of a lighter approach, perhaps, you know, maybe you know, the people are realizing that despite the briefing that, you know, we're probably second only to the Taliban in threat to national security, I think they're finding that, you know, the average age of the people down here is unfortunately the wrong side of 60. In fact, I feel quite young, you know, for a lot of the time here, you know, compared to the other people around. So, you know, please do come down, take a look at what's going on. And as I always say, you know, please encourage people to do their own research. And I sincerely hope that as the paramilitary members of PSU, of North Yorkshire Police, as they see the reaction or lack of reaction from amongst the protector community, that they will also do their own research and maybe come to the realization that what they're facilitating is a fundamental potential nightmare. Because please just look at wherever this industry has become established anywhere around the world, and you will see that these people's concerns are not based on anything other than their research. And you know, when you hear the palliatives thrown out by the government, by the industry, and particularly the sociopath John Dewar, you know, talks in his gentle Scottish lilt, but basically the content of what he says has no depth. It's extremely shallow, it's full of palliatives, and despite his insistence that he can do this completely safely, he has zero experience of this process. And so he's just hoping, giving his fingers crossed, that basically anything that does go wrong doesn't get picked up, doesn't get spotted, and he can push it through and sell Third Energy to INEOS and ride off into the sunset with his, no doubt, enormous bonus for running a company that is currently in a situation where it has a negative net worth of minus 36 million. So if anything does go wrong, who's going to pay for the reparations? Well, it certainly ain't going to be Third Energy, because they'll be riding off into the sunset, obviously filing bankruptcy and just leaving the local community, North Yorkshire County Council or the national government, basically your taxes to pay for the repairs. So, if indeed it can be repaired. So, well, that's it for now. So please, you know, keep in touch with us through the day via Twitter, either my Twitter, which is at Ian R. Crane, or at KM Protectors, and on the various Facebook feeds. Steve Spy, his live streams go out on his Bambuza channel, so just search Steve Spy Bambuza and you can see what's going on there. Meanwhile, if you're to the west of the Pennines, please head down to Preston New Road. If you're to the east of the Pennines, it's not a particularly great day. It's a bit, it's not cold, but it's wet and, you know, a bit miserable. Yorkshire. But, you know, hey, I'm not complaining. There's no snow on the ground. But come down here and say, come join us for the walk tomorrow at 10 o'clock in Kirby and Misperton Village, or the Legal Observer training at the Kirby and Misperton Protection Camp on Sunday at 12 noon. So we'll see what happens. It's a new day, a new dawn, and who knows? We may have a day of entertainment, or we may not. But stay with us, because we ain't going anywhere. Catch you later.